Hi everyone, my name is Tijal. I am a Formula 4 national racing champion, and I am currently doing my LGBF4 in India, and that is a Indian racing series that I'm driving in right now, and I'm competing over there. I used to always be passionate about cars, and basically, I had been to the track when I was a really young kid. For the first time, I had been to a racetrack, and ever since then, I've always been inclined towards speed and cars in general. So yeah, I think just when the paths crossed, we finally, I had a big interest towards it, and finally like one of the dreams became true, and then I think that's when we started following the passion of racing. I had always been inclined towards it, and I think I've had parents that are supportive enough to let me get into the sport, and they've taken me to my first ever go-kart track. And I think from there, then I discovered my passion that I really like racing as a passion. That's when I've tried to move towards it, and they have also helped me in the process.
He was born with cleft foot. That is, both the feet turned inward, right, at the end of the day. Okay. Now, when he was 3.5 months old, he underwent his first surgery on both the legs. That was corrected about, I think, 60%. And then subsequently, he was in cast till the age of about 3.5, 4 years. Then he underwent second surgery when he was 4 years old. Each of his legs has undergone 2 surgeries each, right? And then there were special shoes and everything which he used to wear. He couldn't, walk properly up until he was about 7. Post that, we put him into, say, roller skating, and he came to the state championship level, where he had to get moving, but skating, and after his surgeries, we felt that it was a tad risky, because skating, you have a tendency to twist your ankle. And then subsequently, we started taking him to go-kart track, I think when you were 9-year-old, Tijal, 10-year-old?
I was about 10 when we started.
Yeah, so we took him to go-kart track when he was about 10, and then subsequently for 2 years, we continuously went. He fell in love with it, and then subsequently he himself searched for a professional training guys who could train him for professional go-kart, and the same year he started participating in go-kart race, and then subsequently he loved it and he moved up.
So when I'm basically not at the racetrack, I'm also pursuing my studies in Dayanand Sagar. I'm doing my BBA right now. So I finish my college and all of my work out there. And then I usually get home and I basically have to go to the gym and work out a lot on our overall muscle endurance, and also gaining our weight as much as possible. Not gaining our weight as much. So that's one of the things that my diet is focused towards. But gaining overall strength and muscle endurance is what we focus on. Other than that, I also practice a lot on the simulators that I have at home, that we at Iron Racing are designing ourselves. Because we can't, like, our sport is such that we can't be at the track every single day, and we have to also keep in touch with the training. So the easiest and quickest method to be doing this is by sitting at home and getting on a simulator where you can practice your racing and your racecraft and overall basics of racing and keep in touch with it. Either I'm doing this or during the weekends I go to the go-kart tracks as much as possible, and then have a bit of training over there. But other than that, for our own training purposes towards the direct cars that we actually race towards, we have testing sessions that are spread all throughout the year, and we have to go on 2 or 3 specific dates and then train on those dates. And during the race weekends, we basically just get there, and then we get prepared for whatever we have prepared for the whole year, and then we race in those particular 4-5 days of a month that we have, about 5 months in a year. So that's how we go about. Right now, I don't have a very specific diet, but eat as healthy as possible, and just maintain that it's not fatty foods or any fast foods or any junk foods like that. Basically, just eat healthy and eat as much as you can, because you also burn out a lot in the gym. So we are at the track in my actual race car, not that not very often either. Due to COVID, actually, the amount of driving that we get has reduced. But yeah, we do get a decent amount of track time, like in the actual cars that we race with. Probably we'll have in total we've had about 2 or 3 training sessions, which goes on for like 2 days or 3 days. We don't have an exact specific date. It is up to us if we are able to go to those things. But also, like I told you, to stay in touch with racing and to make sure that I have everything put up together and do not forget most of the basics or anything like that. I practice on the simulator as much as possible, and those are the few things that I can stay in touch with racing as such. But yeah, driving on the track is comparatively lesser. It's not like other sports like cricket where you can train every single day on the exact same thing or the exact like be there for the actual thing. So it's a little harder that way, but there are other ways that we can focus on the sport by doing racing overall is a craft where even if you do the basics right, you have a really good knowledge about what you're supposed to do with the bigger cars and faster cars. Like accidents and incidents have been part of racing, and they're like the good and bad of everything. I think those are some of the things that just happen. There's so many times it's not under your control, but it does happen because we're driving at those speeds, and you never know when the smallest of things might have a small failure or anything like that might happen. And especially when you have hard racing and you're racing with drivers who always are competing to win. So yeah, they happen, but I have been in a lot of crashes, and also we had mistakes that have been made, but I think it's all about the learning process. And I think every time I've had a crash, I've had injuries to myself too. I've had a bit of soft tissue damage on my back and a few things other than that. But yeah, like I said, I think once we get back into every time we have some kind of incident, or if I'm injured, I might have to take rest for a long amount of time to get that fixed. But again, the will to get back onto the racetrack is so much more than thinking about the incidents. So once we are right back onto the racetrack, we don't think about any of the incidents, and we are up there to give our 100%, because we know that it's just a part of racing, and those things cannot be helped. Previously we had like a really big crash, and hopefully luckily both of the drivers were safe, and none of us were injured. But yeah, I think it's just a part of racing, and it's just the danger that the sport holds, and it's something that we have all learned to I have learned to overcome, even though keeping my leg also into consideration, and have to be careful in a few situations. But it also doesn't change much for me, because at the end of the day, everybody has the same racetrack, the same race car, and there's no need to be scared about doing what everybody else can do. And you really have to be up there alongside them to win a championship and everything. So yeah, I think those are just part and parcel of everything that's in life, and those are things that you can't help.
Giving credit to the organizers and also to the federation here, who also take safety as one of the key components. So they have enough safety measures which they take to minimize any kind of danger. Motorsports is dangerous from a perspective of both speed and machine, which is not in your control at some point of time. They have enough safety measures to ensure that the damage is minimized. Equipments for any other sports is readily available across the counter in India. Even the helmet, to the inners, to the socks, to the gloves, including the suits, are all imported. We have to get it from outside. Okay. And each of these suits have got a valid timeline. It's like an expiry date on each of the suits. You can't wear beyond that because it loses its property. So please be aware that there is literally zero availability of these facilities, unlike other sports. But being a hard sport, we have to do something. People in India are least aware that there is a sport called motorsport, while it's one of the oldest sports, because the focus has always been the fly-by regular sports like your football or cricket or anything, right? So One is awareness, and number two is availability. In India, it's not available at all. We have to import it.
I specifically don't have a single role model as such. I look up to almost all of the drivers because everybody has a story of their own, everybody has a struggle of their own, and everybody is unique in their own way. And you can pick up a lot of things from every single driver. So in Formula One, I think I look up to almost everyone that's on the grid, because at the end of the day, my goal is to become them in the future. So I just look up to how they've reached that goal, or how they are making sure that they live their dream, and they're in the sport. So yeah, that is, I think, one of my things. But also, like, specifically, I look up to let's say Ayrton Senna, because I'm a really big fan of him, because in the olden days, even though unfortunately his life was taken in a crash, even though the safety was less, I think he has made a big impact on making overall Formula One safer. And also, I really look up to him because he used to be this driver who used to just give out everything, and used to win races and win championships, even when all of the odds are against him, even when everyone used to try to pull him down and make sure he doesn't win. Everybody would still be shocked because of the way he drove, and he absolutely used to drive his heart out, and he used to be like the man that I wanted to be. We are planning right now to move up to Europe, let's say. I want to win. Currently, I'm still doing the Indian National Championships, and I want to win as much as possible over here and prove myself. And we are planning to move up to abroad, let's say probably Europe, France, or any of these big championships that happen abroad. And I want to do a Formula 4 series or a Formula 3 series. And then, because that is the next step towards getting closer to my goal. And probably if we do well in that category, it's just about taking the time, because we don't know exactly when it's going to happen, or how it's going to happen. But the plan is to reach Formula 3, and then hopefully we can pick up some good sponsors, and also you can have a good backing for me to get into Formula 2. Probably get into a driver's academy, for example, a Ferrari driver academy, Mercedes driver academy, Red Bull driver academy. And if we are backed by something like this, then I think I can move on with my dream into getting into Formula 2, and then hopefully Formula 1 one day. Or I think this is one of the paths. If this doesn't work out, we are also looking at a touring car championship as well, because I am really interested, and I want to make a career in the sport. It's a very hard sport out there. There's a very limited number of seats that you can get into, and you can get this thing moving professionally. But I think that's the end goal, and then hopefully, if we put all the efforts in the right direction, we can, get there, and we can make it. Basically, in Formula One, we have about 20 seats. That is, currently we have 20 seats. So basically, there are 10 teams which have 2 drivers each. So there's about 20 seats. Every year, they do not change. Some might remain about. I think last year about 50% or 60%. I think more than that. About 70% or 80% of the grid remained the same as the previous years. So it's an opportunity that you get probably very rarely. But if you're there and if you're performing well, definitely you will get a chance to get into Formula 1. And if you do well, you can get progress into a bigger team, a better team. And it's let's say we have only 20 seats in total, in which I think about 10% or 20% will always be taken. So the remaining number of seats that we have is the one that you can fight for and you can do for. Other than this, we also have a lot of sports car and touring car championships outside of India, where there are plenty more opportunities to do all of this. There's a lot of new up and coming championships as well, like the Formula E championship, and you have DTM. There's a lot of championships that you can all enter into. So the main goal, which I aim towards, is Formula 1. So there we have only about 20 seats limited. Everywhere else, there is an opportunity where you can, enter the championship and make a career out of it. But even that, overall, if we consider the amount of drivers that we have all over the world, to make a set, make it like a thing where you follow it professionally is quite hard. So I think that's the only thing that I'm focusing towards right now, and hopefully we'll get there.
Now, this sport is not only quite demanding from physical perspective, it is also demanding from monetary perspective. One of the key components of motorsports is sponsorship coming through. Except for the team sport, there is no real focus on corporates working towards recognizing people and grooming them, especially in motorsports. Vijay Mallya started, the Kingfisher Formula One team. At that point of time, no Indian drove it, by the way. It's only outsiders. Now, the purpose was to make sure that you could have drivers whom you could groom and put them into those seats, where it stands now. But having said that, there are a lot of opportunities for kids in India to be racing against the best in the world. But we don't have the number one facilities, because for any of the testing, for your information, there's no testing track in Bangalore. We have to travel to either Chennai or Coimbatore. Nothing is in Bangalore. Currently, there are only 3 tracks, right? Number one. So we need to travel all the way. We need to spend the time and amount and resources. We do once in 2 months testing and training program where we go and test the car, test the track, make sure that you are up to date, while he practices also in simulators. Once you have a backing of a corporate in India who could back the driver, you can move him in any direction outside of India,
right?
Especially in Europe, or where you need to practice a lot to be up to mark with as against any other drivers globally. So you got a lot of time and effort which needs to be spent along with money. And one of the key components and ingredients which is missing in India is sponsorship. Only the parents struggle to make sure that it happens, but very rarely you get sponsors who can sponsor and grow the career of these young drivers and racers. We got a lot of brand ambassadors throughout, be it cricket or movie stars, but they are already made up. There are a lot of people, may not be just motorsports, be it Olympians, right? There are a lot of sports today and a lot of avenues for building kids and building their career up. It should be that a nation recognizes and builds the athlete.
Yeah, managing my education, I think, is one of the other challenges that we have, because like I told you, I have a very busy schedule. I also, train kids as much as possible from my end, because, the sport really needs some help. And I do that too in my spare time. So yeah, with the amount of the days that I attend, my classes are comparatively lesser to a normal kid. So basically, whenever I go to my races or anything, I just have to make sure that after I come back from there, I have to attend my classes, and then I have to make sure that I finish up all my backlog and get up to date and up to speed with what's going on in class. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky challenge, but I think it's not that hard because I've been used to it now. I've been doing it for the last 3-4 years, so I've been used to learning all of this. I'm also very interested in entrepreneurship, and I really want to start a lot of businesses of my own. So yeah, I take my education very seriously, because I know that a lot of things that can't be learned, just on the racetrack will be learned via college and my pursuing my degree and everything like that. So I learn as much as possible, which I can implement in my day-to-day life and practical life. So yeah, I think my education also, my dad helped me out a lot, because he's already been managing a lot of companies. So yeah, I just basically pick up all the little details and I learn from that. When I'm back in college, we don't really talk about racing much, but I think the world is getting to know slowly about Formula One, and everyone is starting to realize more and more about Formula One and racing in general. And there are a few students and friends of mine who are really passionate about all of this, and we do make a conversation and we talk about it, whom we support in the sport and things like that. But the racing in overall, my friends that I have in racing, our fraternity is such that it's a very small fraternity, but everyone is very close to each other. Even though we might battle like 200%, 300% on track, we might have the biggest rivalry on track. Off track, we're all really good friends, and we have a huge amount of mutual respect for each other, because we know how hard the sport is and how much we are risking to be doing it.
it's quite ironic, right? Many of including my mother, passed away in a road accident. So at the end of the day, a lot of people will say you should be more apprehensive and not send him to such a risky sport. But I'm an entrepreneur for a long amount of time. Without risk, there is no outcome. And you need to do something differently than what others are doing to be standing out from the crowd, number one. Right. Number two, you should be doing something which is also satisfactory. And he's very, very passionate and he finds satisfaction in doing that. The only thing which I can do is to help him and guide him in that direction and support him as much as possible, which we do. And, other than that, we leave it to the safety equipments which are provided on the track. To make sure that it holds. And first race in his Formula 4 category, he met up with an accident where his car jumped 6 feet in the air and landed, right? So the first thing what people said is it's highly risky. Why do you want to even do it? But he came out unscratched from that and continued to drive in the next few races. If there's no risk, there is no outcome, right? Number three is pick and choose what you're passionate about and go behind it rather than trying to do something what other people will continue to do. I mean, you can as well say if support is being given to cricket, why didn't you push him in cricket? So that's the other way of looking at it, right? You should not be behind money. You should be behind the passion. That's what I understood in entrepreneurship as well. So, I let him do what he wants. The only thing which we can do is support and see that he's safe from a safety perspective. Look, what we have is an ancient car right now. Formula 4 cars in India are not new. So they are trying to build some new ones, which are much faster. These are good conditions though, because the teams maintain it extensively well, extremely well. From a car perspective, availability is there. There are teams. The only cause of concern is the tracks across India. Now, if you had more tracks across India in all major cities, we could have had a city-to-city competition where the people would have noticed even more from a perspective of sports, right? If you run, say, Karnataka versus Tamil Nadu, a lot of people would be available on the track to see and cheer for their teams. Hopefully, there'll be somebody who will pick and manufacture, but we don't have the volumes as well in India. In total, I think we all the motorsports put together from a motorsports fraternity where all the safety and equipments are needed, we have about 250 drivers totally. There are as many drivers, but it's not recognized. I mean, people are not recognized, right? So that's where it is. Just to give you a simple example, right? For the kids to ensure that they are up to date and, up there from a racing perspective, 3 years back when we were looking out, simulators were not available in India. We had to import simulators. One of the things what we did was me and one more person called Deepak Chinnappa started a car racing simulator company where we started manufacturing. We are the only manufacturers in India now. So that is to make sure that we do not only popularize the sports but also give them the right equipment for them to keep testing and training, offline, because not everybody can afford track testing on a weekend. We got the simulators. Hopefully we'll start getting all the other equipments like your helmets and your suits and everything here as well. Government only recognizes, as far as I understand right now, government recognizes winners. You got Sports Authority of India. There are regular off-the-mill track support for track meets. There are stadiums across India which is owned by government for cricket. Why not build tracks? You got Buddh International where there is not even an event happening today. Right? There is only Chennai and Coimbatore where a lot of events happen from a racing perspective. Why not build tracks across cities to start with, number one. Number two, recognizing from a sports perspective, while thankfully, thanks to the government that motorsport got recognized a couple of years back as a sport, where Arjuna Award winner Gaurav Gill is there and so on. From a perspective of sports quota, simple example is Tijil wanted to do BBA in one of the college which has got entrepreneurship as a key component. He's in sports quota, but the college refused to take him. But not only sports quota, he had also got distinction in his, 10+2. The college refused to even admit him because they said we only support people who come for team sports like cricket, volleyball, or basketball, and not motorsport is not even recognized within the college or university, because we need to do something irrespective of the sports, be it motorsports or be it javelin. Only Mr. Chopra, Neeraj Chopra, was recognized after he won, but nobody knew before he even went there to Olympics, right? We want somebody to build Neeraj Chopra and not recognize after he wins. It's not only government, Vasudha, it should also be a responsibility of the corporates to support and build. Simple thing, we don't have scouts in India. The scouts are the people globally, the scouts look out for a talent and bring them earlier on into a company to help them support and build their career, right? Yeah, we don't have scouts. The branding and the advertisement companies goes behind sports people who are already there in sports, who do not need also, they get it. There are only few. IPL is there, Kabaddi is there. Nothing negative. We are all striving hard, but work much harder to build athletes in India. I may not be the only person. There might be a number of people. So we need to use the right medium in order to get across to multiple people. So that's very important.
I think we've had motorsports in India. If I'm not wrong, I saw a presentation on it about a year or 2 years back. I'm not very aware about motorsports in the previous days. But yeah, I think we have it for about 50 years now in India, and it's been a very long time the sport has existed in India, and I think it has progressed a long way from before. Mm-hmm. I've seen pictures about how the old cars look and how we progressed from there. So yeah, I think motorsport overall just has been in India for a very, very long time. I'm sure it's about 50 years or a bit more than that. I don't know the exact number as such. Only from the past is how it has progressed to how it has been right now currently. Like it has slowly progressed from they've used that as the grassroots to build up the cars right now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know much about ancient history about motorsports in India.
Motorsports in India has been there since 1957. There were a handful of people who started it. They had the best of the cars coming in, and they were driving in race courses like Sholavaram, Scissors Rally, Kadur Rally. There were a lot of rallies and off-circuit and on-circuit events which were happening. Earlier on, there was a lot more enthusiasm. When it came down to motorsports, there is lot amount of enthusiasm, but there should be lot more amount of awareness which needs to be sent across. Number one. Number two is I think Kari Vardhan was one of the guys, key guys who built a track in Coimbatore and started doing a lot of Formula LGB category cars. He's the guy who designed and developed the Formula LGB cars as well. So today what we are racing is from Kari Vardhan. Very long time back he built that. So, it's been there since long. We just need to move forward. Not many drivers have been off late. Jehan Daruwala is there, Arjun Maini is there, who have gone and started racing. I'm not talking only from Tejal's perspective, but also from the entire motorsports after seeing the guys and girls racing over there. So there's a lot more potential, and we can build on those talents.
From my end, I think right now social media is getting a lot of attention overall, and a new thing, not a new thing, but an unrecognized thing like this will definitely help. Knowing the insides and outsides of racing, I think we have everything as a package. We just have everything available, which the public would absolutely love, but they're not very well aware about it. It's not really very well telecasted or advertised about. So yeah, I think those are a few things that hopefully we can build on and make a brand out of this whole thing, and everybody focuses on racing, and everybody gets educated as much as possible in the sport. I think those are the few things that I would like to help on. The other ways that I'm contributing is there is a very less and limited number of trainers in India. There are trainers, but there's a very limited amount of drivers who can, really inspire kids and then help them to become themselves. So what I do in my free time is I try as much as possible to help all the young kids that are just entering into motorsports, and help them grow the way they're supposed to, and then help them get all their grassroots right, and hopefully they can have a better future ahead. Social media and any kind of media overall, like even newspaper articles, we must have, I've seen a lot of examples where just like a very big championship would have just been finished in motorsports in India, and then it gets like a very tiny, or in probably 2 or 3 boxes in the newspaper, and hopefully in the next upcoming years we can get like a much bigger poster where more people are aware about it. And overall, I think advertising and a bit more marketing would definitely help the motorsports, and also definitely need to improve the way the races are telecasted. I think that should help more, where we can hopefully get a broadcast through on TV as well, where it is also put on a sports channel where everybody can just sit at home and watch. That will definitely help in increasing the overall viewership of these sports, and I think that those few things would definitely help move racing into the right direction, which would also pull in a lot more corporates who can sponsor drivers and can back up talent, and then I think the whole sport would get like a massive push overall, where it can finally match its true potential.
I keep telling this, Tijal with clubfoot can be an inspiration. The reason is that 100,000 kids in India are born with clubfoot. Parents really are concerned that they are born with a clubfoot, and they think that it's a deformity which cannot be corrected, right? So today you got a person who is like Tijal, who can be showcased and said that, what, there's a hope for them to think that he can lead their children can lead a normal life. Tijal put it rightly. One is print media. Today, if he won the championship, national championship, competing against 26 drivers, and you get less than one paragraph on a national newspaper. Hamilton, he's an outsider who is a Formula 1 champion. Okay, Formula 1, that's fine. But you get a lot more in terms of, page size. Now, in India, if we don't encourage the kids by putting an advertorial or editorial and write about their struggles, how they have come up, what they are intending to do, portray it to the people to get sponsors and make sure that they are comfortable and help them build a career. There is no other way around there. None of the channels today, especially the sports channel, they don't mind telecasting the same IPL highlights 20 times. But there is, motorsports which is happening and which is live right now, which you can telecast and show multiple city kids from across India participating, right? It's not only from one town. Now, you don't even telecast, but you will telecast the same IPL match which has happened again and again. I mean, that is something which is ridiculous. You should actually try to bring in a channel, or somebody should, run a channel which can focus on live sports. Forget about motorsports alone. There is a lot of things which are happening beyond motorsports as well. So why can't we focus on other sports other than just cricket and football and badminton and hockey and so on?
I don't think there's any one particular reason. It's a combination of a lot of things. But I think one of the main factors is just not having the knowledge about racing and what it's capable of, and that's exactly why I said I think if you bring in a lot more media attention and everything, that should definitely help. If more people are aware about the sport and everybody starts to learn something about it, then that would definitely help overall, even corporates themselves. And I think that is one of the major things in India. But I think out of India, right, there is a lot more opportunities than what you would have in India. Like abroad, you have these chances where, if you're doing really well on track, you have scouts who will come and pick you up, and, they'll help you out on the financial side, and they'll push you towards your goal. But in India, there is nobody as such, or no scout who will come and then look at your talent and just pick you up and be like, okay, here, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do this for you. There's not anybody, for now at least, who's doing things like that. So yeah, I think overall corporates are not very well aware about the sport, and I think that's one of the major hindrances in them actually investing into something like this. In racing, everybody has had a really good time, and probably they have had hard times as well. And I think my mentor, like my dad was telling, I have my coach called Deepak Chinappa. He's been helping me out a lot overall since the day I've started in Formula Cars. And yeah, I think he's taught me almost all of the things that I know right now about racing. There is a lot of things that are also self-driven, where I watch and learn from other people as well. But yeah, I think mentorship is very, very important. Because in a sport like this, where it's very new, and it's not like cricket where you can, the coach can come himself and stand right next to you and be like, this is how a stroke is played. That's not going to happen in racing. It has to be learned by yourself. You really have to drive, and maximum a coach can do is probably tell you that, see, this is what you're doing wrong, this is how you need to fix it. It's not like other sports where your coach can just step in and be like, this is how it's supposed to be done, and not like this. You can only help the kid, focus into the right direction and then fix as much as possible. And the rest of it is really up to the driver and the talent of the driver. And yeah, I think that's why mentorship is very important. And, like a mentor should be in a way where he's able to communicate really well with the driver and also have a close bond with them. Only then it works. And yeah, I think it's both of them, being self-driven and having a good mentor, is very important in the sport. And I think in general itself, overall, for whatever you're trying to do, having a good mentor and being self-driven by yourself, and if you're open to learn new things and new aspects of all of this, and yeah, I think that will really help you reach your goals and become successful.
In cricket, you can watch the TV and see how you hit the stroke. Here, a coach is actually standing in the pit lane where he does not know and where he cannot see where the cars are going and what kind of turn he took. You have something called telemetry data where they sit and analyze and say, hey, I think you could do this better. And that's the maximum you can do, because you can't drive along with them and showcase. There's a lot more science to what these guys do than what we really think. That's the beauty of this. Yeah, ask him. He coaches. So he coaches a lot of kids. So you should ask him. So it's quite challenging.
It's just pretty new to me for now, because I don't coach like a lot of kids, but I do. I just started coaching and try to help the sport as much as possible. And one thing I've definitely learned is, every single driver is unique in their own way. Every single driver is different. They have a lot of them have like, let's say, limits that they have set in their own minds, and they're very afraid to cross those limits. And a few drivers are very open to learning and they're very quick learning, but they just need some effort where they need to calm down and also focus on what they're doing exactly. So yeah, I think overall what I find it's very challenging, and it's something that I really love doing, because every single person that I train is absolutely different. Nobody is exactly the same, and everybody needs to be worked along with in a completely different manner, and everybody needs to be spoken along with in a different manner. Everybody has a different coaching step that we take, and is a whole different let's say approach to every single driver, because some might be aggressive, some might not be very aggressive, and everything needs to be worked on depending on how they drive and how well they're able to cope up with what we are trying to teach them. I really you have to work along with them, and I might have 2 drivers or 3 drivers during a race weekend, but it's all about differentiating between what each driver can do and really understanding their minds. So yeah, I think like as you asked, like, being a mentor is very hard, because you really have to understand what the driver is. Only then you'll be able to help them also unlock their true potential, or else it's going to be very hard if you don't understand where the kid is coming from or where everybody is coming from. In India, I think slowly we are moving in the right direction. The changes are being made, and we have this brand new series that is going to be introduced in 2022. And looking at how they're planning to run the series, and what potential it's bringing, I think it is going to make a very big impact in India, and it's going to help us. We also have news about a lot more tracks coming into India, a lot more tracks that you can actually drive on being constructed in India. And I think that will also definitely help, because I, for example, will not have to travel that far to Coimbatore or Chennai just to train. I can will have to drive a couple of hours towards a track near Anandpur or something just to drive over there. So right. Yeah, I think that will also help overall in the matter. But I think surely motorsports is moving in the right direction. Finally, we have an FIA graded series that is going to be introduced in India. Like, really good things are happening in motorsport. It's just going to take some time for it to all settle through, because it's a very growing sport. But I think we are going to be looking at the boom in motorsports coming very soon in the next few years. We are definitely going to see the growth of motorsports exponentially.
Support of government and the federation and the corporates. So these are the three ingredients for it to be successful. Just having the drivers and the cars and series does not entail us to be trying to grow in that sports. The government initiatives, the federation, and the corporates coming together. True. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of interest. A lot many kids are coming on a yearly basis onto the track. It's just a matter of these three ingredients put together with the right talent that we can actually, get India in the motorsports side of business as well, not only cricket. Globally, motorsports was done with the purpose of building better cars. Ferraris and Lamborghinis and all these guys started racing first before they even built the car. So Ferrari was built based on the race specification, and today if you see, Ferrari cars are very well known. Indian automobile industry is not very well known, except for only one or two companies like Mahindra or Tata, which is manufacturing in India. Besides that, there's nobody else who is manufacturing any cars in India, except for companies which are multinationals which are building the cars. I think as an automobile industry, they should actually use this forum, which is the racing forum, to build better and safer cars for India. It's an excellent opportunity for electric cars to be making inroads into India, and made in India electric car tested and driven by all the race drivers and engineered based on the outcomes of the race or the racing would be a good view. Not only build career of kids, but also to improve their own cars and bring their cars to the Indian market.